Hey guys, how you doing? It's me again. I just want to talk to you about some other situations, some other things that I was asked to, bring forward, and maybe this can help somebody else with whatever's going on with them. Because we are in a place where there's a thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and no one's story is actually like their own. It's somebody else's story. Somebody else has been through it, so it's not really just only your thoughts. Everybody has a situation that somebody else has dealt with, or somebody else that actually has dealt with it. So let's use our fucking thinking caps, guys. Anyway, let me go in. So before I start, let me always start with this, guys. I'm gonna clear the energy up as much as I try. I can. I mean, I can. Some people just trifling. You can't really. You can't. I don't like the word can't, but there's some trifling motherfuckers out here. You gotta be real careful with. So use your discernment. Use your discernment. You saw that? Yeah, exactly. So you gotta use your discernment on these people that's very stubborn and they don't want to let go. They don't want to leave. They want to do the most. You gotta like shut them down. Shut them down. Shut them down. So anyway, at the end of the day, guys, let's just do that. Let's be kind. Let's be loving. Let's be of God. Let's actually like do what we need to do to shut down the negative and bring in more positive. So let's just do better. If you actually out there that has some sort of mental disorder, some sort of mental abuse, you need to seek help. Direct yourself to someone that actually has some sort of like profession. Someone has the like skills, maybe more than 5 stars in the profession, and that they actually want to use this opportunity to do better. They don't want to use you as a guinea pig. They want to use you. They don't want to write a book about you. They don't want to despise you. They actually want to help you. So you just discernment on who you choose to help you out with your future mental disorder, or your mental disorder that you've received from someone else, and you're just not the person that's probably mentally disturbed. Try to use discernment and find a physician or therapist that can really, really help you. Don't give up, guys, because there's help out there for everyone. So anyway, I'm about to go in because y'all already know what it is. So listen, a lot of people want to know about like what happened to you. Why was you using foster care? What was going on with you in foster care, Coco? So all right, let me explain to you guys. So I spent like almost 15 years of my life in foster care. And let me start with my mom used to lock me in closets because her boyfriend used to sexually abuse me, and whenever he used to mention it, she used to put me in a closet, and I wasn't supposed to bring it up. And every time something happened, it was always my fault. Even when it came to raising my brother as well, my brother on my mom's side, it was all my fault. I was always supposed to help take care of him and make sure he's good, regardless of the situation. I'm always the one who gotta always help. I gotta be the one to make sure everything is straight. It's my responsibility, and all this went on as a child. So during this process of me being in foster care, which I was never registered, the state of Maryland, Baltimore City, I was never registered as a foster care. I was child. I was hidden in foster care, and let me explain. So my mom she's already locked me in closets. I'm already sexually abused. I'm already abused by some family members by now. And people's moved out of my grandmother's house on Beaumont Avenue by this time, and my grandmother's house is kind of quiet, but she's uppity and she's in her home other kind of lifestyles. It's a different generation that I'm familiar with now. What's going on, obviously, but you got to use your own discretion, guys, to pay attention. Keep the fuck up, okay? That's how you pay attention. Keep up. Be sharp. Anyway, so I was always hitting this foster care around this time, and this was before like maybe the 90s or something like that, but like before 88. So my mom, she was already leaving us at malls, and she always was ready to get rid of us as it is, and she was already trying not to feed us. And by this time, my grandmother just allowed me to stay at her house, and I had no problems because it was always Ocean Spray, food, Kicks, Cheerios. Nigga, that shit was always there. Ocean Spray, orange juice, Donald Duck, Sunny Light, nigga, food was there all the time. So I stayed at her house because where I was at with this other crazy nut, she didn't feed us. It wasn't like that, and that was a. If you got fed over there with her, that was like a treat. You don't get fed regularly. That was like something you get offered if you were being good for the day. That wasn't something that you was given just because you were human. That's how I was raised. You know, I don't know if somebody else was raised differently, but that's how I was raised. So anyway, let's move on. So going over to my grandmother's house, what my grandmother started to do is she decided that because between her and another neighbor and another neighbor and another neighbor, they all was doing foster care. And even though that corner house was doing foster care, they actually only had adults at this point. They didn't have any more inheritance of getting any more foster children. That corner white house on Beaumont Avenue, that house wasn't doing foster care anymore, even though that who owned that property. That's how much I pay attention, guys. You got to understand. Pay attention to the one that pays attention. So that corner house, that White House on the corner, it didn't have any more children foster care going on. It was just the inheritance of the foster kids that took care of that property. Then the house next door, that house was actually doing foster care, and that woman owned that house. And then my grandmother, her house, she was doing foster care, and she owned her house. Well, you know how mortgage go, niggas. Y'all do the math, you know, do your discernment. You know, you own it, you lease it. Make your mind up. I don't got time for this shit to be breaking everything down. Pay attention. Anyway, so then this other house beside me was a foster care house too, and they had way more foster kids. It was like adults and children that's having children. It was like off the hook. And then it was a different. These houses was like. These was not even semi-detached. These houses was attached. These two houses was not even attached to each other. They had yards in between each other and like sheds and shits behind them, you know what I'm saying? So this is what I was used to. So at the end of the day, living at this with my grandmother's house, which was my foster care parent for most of my life, maybe technical, I wound up living in foster care with as though that I had to leave the house when the social worker come in because I wasn't registered. I was taught to learn how to move from home to home, place to place, space to space, because I wasn't registered and I didn't want to. My grandmother told me not to ruin her business, and she was in competition with the block, and she didn't want to make sure. And at that time frame, that mentality, if you want to call it narc, whatever you want, because again, I'm not a psychologist and I would love to be one. That's maybe in another lifetime. But this mind frame thought that they was in comparison with the other neighbors on the block that was foster care parents, is where I came from on Beaumont Avenue. So with this particular, situation going on, my grandmother felt as though that she was in competition with these other skunks on the block, and she had to be the best foster care provider, even though this bitch on this side of her, she been doing this for a while. She wanted to make sure that she had, the best pickup sticks, the Connect Fours, and any other kind of puzzles and anything else, and Ocean Spray food, Tyson chicken. She wanted to make it her business. And even though we went to market, we always stayed in the clearance area, the area where it's though that you get the meat or the chicken or whatever the fucking shit is always marked down. That's what I was taught. You go to the fucking clearance area first, and then you go to the area. And I still live by that today. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you motherfuckers. You need to actually do your research and learn remedies on how to take care of yourself anyway, so you don't have to spend so much money on shit that's not even really worth spending money on. I mean, I'm not throwing my grandmother in a bus, foster kid mama, whatever the fuck you want to call her. But at the end of the day, today, me and her don't even communicate. And that's unfortunate for her, not me. Because I'm not about to be caught up in no fucking family trap of trash. So let's go on. So the reason why I wound up, a part of my grandmother's foster care is because my mom wasn't able to take care of me because she didn't like me. She didn't fuck with me. She didn't want to fuck with me. I was a broken child because she blamed me for abusing her boyfriend, and me getting locked in the closet was all my fault, and also me getting abused by a cousin that she left me at my grandmother's house to be abused by this motherfucker too. And this niggas was watching fucking cartoon porn, fucking Korean cartoon porn, along with Care Bears and everything else that went along, Thundercats and fucking Hot Wheels and shit. That was a part of the cycle. So I was actually the test dummy of sexuality during this process. And it was always my fault. So during this process of everybody ridiculing this now probably 8-year-old this time, because 5-year-olds when I first abused, I was locked in closets. And then I got sexually abused again by an older cousin. And then he was watching these movies and doing the most. And he was older than me, but he was able to have access to these different kind of videos that we wasn't, but we was able to watch them in our rotation of television. So while he's watching me, he's watching other children too watch him watch me. And he's teaching him how I should be treated through these videos. So now that I'm in foster care, I'm actually able to talk to these other children about my discretions and my abuse and my problems. But then I was cast away because now I'm not allowed to talk about this because I'm not a ward of the state. And my grandmother made it very clear that I'm not about to, ruin her business, her career, her job, because now she's not working as a social worker anymore. She's not taking care of her grown ass kids no more. She now is in a generation where she's about 40 years old. That's what I am now. This chick got foxes on her fucking shoulder. She's spraying perfume. We got gloves up to our wrists. We going to all kinds of nice nice Oprah show. I mean, not Oprah, opera show. Shout out to Oprah, by the way. She give everybody everything underneath the seats and shit. I'm gonna just move on. So anyway, that's what these motherfuckers do. They like to give everybody gift. Everybody gets a gift. Everybody gets a gift to these motherfuckers because don't nobody want to admit they fucking crazy and shit. So everybody gets a gift because that kind of tunes away from craziness. So my grandmother always had led me to go outside whenever the social workers come over because I wasn't a part of the fucking process. I wasn't part of the other foster kids, and I felt some kind of way because I'm like, yo, how is it that they all got social workers and I got fucking worse problems than them? If not kind of compare, but my problems is as fucked up as theirs. And how is it that we get to go to operas and all these seminars in different churches and feeding people and giving them blankets and going to hotels and homeless shelters and going to all these different things, but I am that child. I am that fucked up child. I'm the child that's fucked up. I'm broken, but yet I'm being taught to be to play on the piano, which they bitch about who piano this belong to in this household and why Nikki get these privileges and how come Nikki get treated like this. And, my grandmother unplugged televisions when we had something in no business watching. She unplugged radios, you know what I'm saying? We had to monitor out flushing the toilet. It was not a problem. I mean, it was not a game in this household. It was structural standards. We had to wear dusters. We couldn't walk around the house with shoes on. You had to make your bed up. You had to have a 10-minute shower, These were structural things. You had to make sure the house is clean. We cleaned the yard up. We did the gutters. We had a purpose. We planted flowers. We planted food. We did pick up 6 Uno. We did different things throughout the day. It was a structure. It was a schedule. You washed dishes. You cleaned the microwave. You cleaned the stove. You mopped the floor. You dishes, whatever you did, before you go to bed. These were structural things that I had to learn throughout the process of living with my grandmother. And I lived with this lady for a long time. And my family failed to realize that they never wanted to pay attention that I didn't live with my mother. I lived with her foster family, but I was never registered. I was hidden in plain sight. And I got to watch and evaluate and observe with clarity all of this shit. So not only was I in church regularly from a Methodist to a apostolic, but then I went to different Catholic churches throughout my years, and we went to all these different seminars and different programmings. I was taught how to clean my bank account out and take care of my account and my business. And then these seminars, these actually taught people how to adult children take care of themselves as adults, because when you're not awarded a state no more, you got to take care of yourself. You got to learn how to take care of yourself. You got to figure out for yourself. So it doesn't matter whether or not you have a parent or you don't have a parent. Because when you're not awarded a state no more, you got to take care of yourself. And these lessons was taught throughout foster care. And I was never a foster care student. I just rode on a boat. I just picked up a fucking paddle and I decided that I'm going to stay here because this lady over here is crazy. And these church members going to Church of the Redeeming Lord, they have no idea what the fuck the real truth of root really is. They just think that they know what they know because they read all this shit. At the end of the day, I know what's really happening to me, but nobody wants to believe this. But I have to believe it because I'm sitting right here and this is what's really going on. So not only am I a foster kid, I'm somebody's child. And I got to pretend, I got to play both processes. I gotta play both because I don't want to get put out of my grandmother's house because guess what? They get yogurt, they get orange, they get fucking bananas and shit. I don't get fed this over here. I get locked in the closet. I get forced to suck a dick over here. I get in trouble because I was forced to suck a dick. I gotta make a decision on if I want to go to the closet or get fucked by somebody that I don't want to get fucked by, because at the end of the day, both of my options is fucked up. So I'm going to just go over here at grandma's house, even though I'm not awarded a stake. I'm hidden in plain sight. But when the social worker comes over, I have to leave. And the social worker cannot see me because this is going to mess up my grandmother's job. This is her profession. This is her job. This is her livelihood. This is how she get paid. And in order for me to stay here, and in my trade, in my head is, at least I get Donald Duck juice. At least I get to play with Legos. At least I can get the color. I do Connect 4. You know, nobody's sexual abusing me now. My grandmother have all her tea party, her frat party. Not frat parties, I'm just fucking with y'all. But her Tupperware parties, we get our little cucumber sandwiches and our salads and our little tea parties and our little crickets and we dip them in tea. Yo, honey, yes, I loved it. Okay, I wore furs. I learned how to play the piano. My grandmother made me to be, we went to operas. We stayed in Montgomery Woods. We stayed making cakes and stuff and putting icing on it. I mean, my grandmother took very good care of me, but when it came to her daughter, that was never allowed to talk about. So as long as I didn't talk about her daughter leaving me in closets and abusing me and letting her boyfriends abuse me and leaving me at malls and not feeding me and letting other members feed me, that was okay. I can get as much oranges and grapes and bananas and anything that was beneficial for all the other foster children. I could have it, but I could not talk about anything else that was abusive. I could actually watch my Aunt Nita go through all this bid, because she was bedridden. So my Aunt Nita was a hairstylist too, and she didn't never have children. And I maybe have adopted that particular, history story. You can chime in however you want to, because I don't care. So anyway, my aunt, she was respite care by the time I was able, but I only watched her for like decades while my grandma was doing neighborhood associations. Because I was a part of neighborhood association, I had to cut the cucumbers, the tomatoes, the strawberries, and whatever else, and put it on a platter, make it ready for everybody else, just like I would do at church with food, food pantries and things of that nature, church bake sales and snowball stands, all that kind of shit, y'all. For real, you can become programmed to be an opportunist in all these particular organizations as long as you feel as though that you're going to be a good person, but you don't get paid for none of this shit, by the way, because I never did. I never got paid for anything. I mean, even going to daycare, I was actually more abused at the daycare center sexually by 3 different family members at one fucking time, just because I was helping my family, because my family said I was supposed to go to the daycare center and help them. And I was actually at my grandmother's foster care program, and I was asked by my mom she took me out because my aunt said she needed to go to college from Frederick Douglass to be a school teacher to a principal. So while all this is happening, I'm getting abused. I'm being everyone's opportunity. I'm actually giving all I can because this is what I'm told I'm supposed to do. I don't know any better because I'm not even 16 yet. But this is what I'm told I'm supposed to do. So not only was I hidden out in foster care, I actually stayed there because I was treated better, because I was treated terribly where I came from. But I was always told that I had to be quiet about what's going on with me, and I can't share with the other children because it's going to make me have to leave. And guess what? I had to, because I couldn't stop talking. And because one of the social workers wanted to find out why I keep, what is going on with this child. So I was cast away, again, like medieval times or some other kind of shit. If you want to take more kind of, consideration into the situation, I was cast away. And I was sent to another dungeon, the way I see it, fucking Cinderella. She had to go deal with the 7 fucking dwarves now. So now I got not only my uncle Deloach fucking with me, 2 of his other kids. And his other kid already fucking me already. So I gotta fight myself off of these motherfuckers and deal with this daycare shit at the same time. So all I'm saying is, guys, is if anything, if this is not mentally disturbing, if anybody can relate to these stories, and if you think it's a rant, fuck you. I don't give a fuck about whether or not you think it's a rant. You think I give a fuck about you, skank? Because you broken and you not trying to get your shit together. So at the end of the day, for those that actually want to hear this shit and they actually use it for their own discernment, their own discretion, their own future lesson, it's a receipt for somebody, ho, because I've already done it. I've already experienced it. I already know what it feels like to be hungry. My mom not feed me on purpose. I know what that hunger feels like from a parent not doing this intentionally because you're in trouble. So I know what it feels like to be hungry, not because you don't have the money. I know what it feels like to be hungry because you're punished and I'm not going to feed you. And I'm going to eat in front of you. Yeah. So I know what that feels like, guys. So again, I need you guys to do better. Work on your narcissistic personality disorder, because the mental disorder lives in a lot of motherfuckers. And this situation is so fucking old. It's decades old. It's like generationally old. And all you're doing is bringing your trifling ass into a new generation of corruption and trash. Because I decided that I wasn't going to repeat the bullshit. I decided that not feeding me and me knowing who didn't feed me and me knowing what hunger really means and why I mean it, it's not because this person didn't have food or money. It's because it was a disciplinary action. Because I was able to go to my grandmother's house and get fed. Easy. And when I got missing and lost in the car, my mother left me at the mall, I found my way back to my grandmother's house and there was food there. And somehow I kept leading. Somewhere along the line, God kept leading me somewhere where I should be and I'd be good. Even though I was abused along the way, guys. Because my abuse did not stop there. My abuse only stopped when I decided I was going to not allow it to happen anymore. So at the end of the day, yes, I did start with this is about me being in foster care, and I wasn't even registered. I was never registered in foster care. I was a kid that had to leave a foster care house because the social worker came in and she wanted to know why I was there. I was hidden in plain sight. I lived in foster care, but I was never foster care. I was the one who got all the foster kids in line because I was living there before they even came. And I was already living a certain way. And that I was the foster care, I was the warden's assistant. Because I was the one that told you couldn't walking around the house with your shoes on. You got to put your dust on. You got to wash your wash up. You can't stay in the shower too long. I was the one telling the other kids that, you know, you got to fold your clothes up. You got to sweep your area up. You got to clean the kitchen up. You got to wipe everything down. I was the one orchestrating everything. And all this was free service, guys. I was never paid. Hold on. Maybe food. Food and board is what it was. Clothes and shelter is what it was. I was never abused at my grandmother's house under her care. But when I was under someone else's care, not my grandmother's, I was always abused. I was always passed around and utilized for someone else's selfish reasons. So if this isn't psychopath, sociopath, or even narcissistic personality disorder, please tell me, comment below and let me know what the fuck is it, because that's what my experience is. This situation, you never forget shit like this. You can forgive all you want to, but this situation never goes away, because everything I look at, anything I look at, it always reminds me that. Even when I'm hungry, it goes back to me remembering, oh yeah, I remember when I was locked in the closet and I was hungry for a few days. And then finally she let me out and she gave me something to eat. And I wasn't thirsty anymore. That's what I know. And then I watched this same person come in the house with food and walk past us and told me that you're going to learn not to waste all my money. While she has something to eat and she goes upstairs and she doesn't talk to us anymore. So this is what I told my grandmother. My grandmother decided that I could stay at her house. And that's what I did. I stayed at her house. So all I'm saying is, guys, is that you guys can open your mouth up a little bit louder. You can actually tell on your children. You can check your children and tell your children that they're doing a fucking trashy ass job. Whereas though that you don't have to howl the child out in plain sight in your house. And they don't even get the deserving. Because I actually didn't even have my own room there. Every time a new child came, I had to move. I had to move out the room. I had to pack up. I learned that when Nicole's stuff is in, her name is on the back of her shirt, she just pack her shirt up and she moved somewhere in the house. I never had a space. It's something called my space. I didn't have it. My room at my mom's house, that was a church member's home because she felt as though that she can go to heaven faster if she moved someone in my room and I sleep on the floor. I never had my own space, guys. I never was protected. But now that I think about it, I'm certainly protected now. Because now I know what it is. And when you know what you know, you can't go back. You can only move forward, guys. So knowing that I was never a foster kid, but I was a foster kid. You know, I was never registered, but I was always there with my ice cream sandwiches or my strawberry shortcake you know, ice cream, going to this corner store from off of Ivanhoe and Beaumont Avenue. Yeah, I lived there for a long time. And people seem to not want to question, why is it my grandmother is my foster mother, but she's not my mother, and nor is she really my foster mother. She's really my grandmother, but why is it that she's perpetrating to be my grandmother if she knows that her child is abusive? So being that she knows that her child's abusive, she just definitely never checked it. She just only covered it up and then let me stay at her foster care career. And I wasn't even really welcomed there. I wasn't really welcomed anywhere. I wasn't. I always had to get up like a chameleon and resurface, fit in, figure out where I should be. That's what I had to do. I didn't never really have a home. I never had my own room. I actually tried to be a part of foster care, and I still couldn't even be a part of that. I had to leave when the foster care, when the social worker came. I had to leave. I had to fake like I don't live here. I had to fake that I didn't live at 805 Beaumont Avenue. I had to fake it. Because my grandmother told me that I need you to leave for a little while because the social worker is coming and I don't want her to know that you're here. Because if she finds out you're here, it's going to ruin everything for her. And you know you don't want to go back to your mom's house. So what are you going to do? We got negative and negative. And I had to make a decision. Because guess why? The more the story is, I was hungry. And I knew what it felt like to be hungry. And no one never actually reached out for me to help me. I just had to be. I had to be. So all I'm saying is this, guys, try to do better. Because this is a funny thing I've heard from someone say this. I think I heard my brother say it. I'm not trying to, I'm not saying names because I have two brothers. One brother died October 1st, 2021. And I got another brother that's alive somewhere, whatever. But anyway, I had a brother. I had a brother. And this brother said to me is, damn, knowing all that, and that's how you turned out. Wow. It seemed like you turned out great. No, we got to do better. Because that's trash. Because at the end of the day, you don't know what the fuck I got to deal with when you don't see me. You don't understand how I got to cry by myself. You don't understand what I got to endure to myself. And what I'm not going to do right now is start crying. But what I want you to understand is that if you guys would stop hurting other people, you won't be hurt right now. Because you lose your blessing because you hurt, and you lose your blessing by hurting somebody else that could have helped you stop being hurt. But you still hurting, and you protecting the person that's hurting you. So all I'm saying, guys, is try to do better. Use your discernment. And just because you feel as though that somebody's doing better than you now, you don't know what the fuck they was going through before you met them. You don't know nothing. You think you know, but you don't know fucking nothing. And take your skink ass, trifling ass, sorry ass self somewhere else. And go do better. Because at the end of the day, how all boils down is if you go handle your childhood abuse, if you admit that shit was fucked up, and you actually look at that whoever in their fucking face and face that shit, don't be a coward. First, start with yourself. Work on that shit with yourself first. Humble yourself. Believe it's true, because it's true. And then make your own life. Make it for you. Don't expect nobody else to create your life for you, because that's not your choice. That's not for nobody else to make a life better for you. You got to make a life better for yourself. So like I said, guys, if this has anything to do with narcissistic personality disorder, you need to do better. You need to do better. You need to fight. Because at the end of the day, I didn't have a home. I was moving from home to space to space. I was living on a couch in a home. I was living on my mom's couch on 22009 East Oliver Street because she wanted to move people in because she said that these people was going to heaven. That was a mind frame at a time. And then I had to, once my grandmother found that out, my father knew about it, I was moved to my grandmother's house where I was circulated throughout that. So at the end of the day, guys, I'm just a walking, talking testimony. And you guys got to do better. Because you could think this will work with someone else and see how it backfires. Because everybody is not touched by God. Everybody don't listen to their intuition. And everybody doesn't have discernment. Integrity. So you can fuck with the wrong kid, the wrong ancestor, and get fucked up. So all I'm asking you to do is just try to do better. Love yourself and do better. Because at the end of the day, yes, I was a foster kid, but I was never a foster kid. Alright guys, love and light. Peace and blessings. Please do yourself a great service. Gift yourself by seeking mental health services. You can help yourself and help everybody else. If this message actually came to you in a way where as though you feel distraught or disturbed, seek mental help. Seek mental help. Help somebody else. Help you. At the end of the day, if this situation doesn't sit you in a way where as though that you are the mental health issue, where as though that you actually are the problem, where as though that you are a flying monkey, seek mental help as well too, because you just as weak. You need help. Because at the end of the day, the social worker saw me there. She just didn't ever do anything about it. She seen me leave. She seen my grandmother put me out. But she didn't check that. I'm a whole nother kid in the house. But I'm not registered. And nobody even decided to find out whether I was okay or not. I was just passed around. Passed around. And now I'm able to just tell y'all this fucking story. It's for real. So instead of worrying about what the fuck I'm doing, worry about yourself. Check yourself before you fucking wreck yourself. And I'm out on that note. You know where the fuck that came from. Use your fucking history, skanks.